Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with Naval Action. And today we're taking a look at a matchup featuring the Surprise. This is one that I thought would be worth sharing just because there's a lot of great action. We've got some more stormy weather and a early collision there with the cutter and Trincomalee. Speaking of collisions, I'm still noticing it's quite a problem. And if you're new to this game, you know, the sailing mechanics can be difficult to get used to, especially in this type of weather. But what you need to know as a smaller vessel is that the bigger ships typically have the right of way, and you need to do your best to stay out of their way because they're slower. They can't turn as fast as you can. You're going to have a better chance to get out of their way. So even if they appear to be doing something absolutely insane, you still just got to try to stay away from them. Give yourself a lot of space. Don't hug other ships. There needs to be some breathing room. This can be very difficult in the Trafalgar matches where there's just so many ships, sometimes 20 or more per team. Very difficult even for myself, I'm finding. However, with that said, even though the general rule is small ships stay out of the way of the big ships, that doesn't mean that you should sail around like an idiot either, I think. Everybody should have some situational awareness, no matter what the game, whether you're in a plane, a tank, or a ship. Everybody should be paying attention to what's going on because, you know, the big ships are often guilty of causing, you know, traffic jams and collisions with other bigger ships. So if you have two ships that are exactly the same size and both people aren't paying attention, well, then you're going to have a problem. So everybody, I think, needs to pay attention, not just the small ships. We often get into this tunnel vision mode where we're focusing on a target and we're not using that little mini-map / radar thing in the lower right-hand corner. And that's what it's there for. It's really a collision detection system. It's allowing you to see what's in front of you while you're on the deck of your ship firing at targets. And I don't think enough people are really utilizing it because there are just far too many collisions in this game. And if you're in a smaller ship and you're going really fast against a large ship and you collide with it, your ship will fill with water very quickly and you'll be sunk in seconds. And switching to survival mode and using repair kits will not save you. So you got to be careful. It's happened to me, and it very well may happen again. But as long as it's not happening too frequently, then we're okay. If you find that you're constantly ramming into other ships or colliding with other ships, then you may need to re-evaluate your sailing techniques. Anyways, taking a look at the match at hand, you can see that they've got a Santissima, which is, of course, the biggest threat in this match. I've got some chain shot loaded up on my port side so as to deal with his sails. Obviously, ball's not going to be too effective against him, and double shot will help chip at his paint a little bit more, but really we want to just try to slow him down for everybody else. Bismarck was also in this matchup on my team, and then Iron Potato, unfortunately, was on the enemy's side, so we got to watch out for him as well. Biz, at this point in time, had gotten separated from us, and I think you'll see later on I try to sail towards him to back him up a little bit, because at this point it was more so about just staying away from the Santissima. I see this broadside coming up here. I'm like, oh no, we got to get out of here. We have to go. Please tell me he's not looking at me. It's always that situation when you see a big ship like that. Obviously they're gonna want to focus on larger vessels, but you never know. I mean, you might run into people that aren't following that rule and they're just going to open up on whatever they see or whatever the easiest shot may be. And when you're in a weather situation like this, you're going to take what you can get because those waves are just tossing you about. Now, I know they've added an updated map that's extremely foggy. You can barely see your own hand in front of your face. It's really tough. The visibility is slim to none, and it's easy to lose your team, but it does make for interesting gaming. You can see some collision there between the Marine Gamer and Clava. Iron Potato on his way here too. I've got this chain loaded up, but I didn't want to hit Clava, and so I just try to throw out a couple, some rounds going into Iron Potato, and then we've got another gentleman, this brig here. So I was being careful with this broadside. I didn't fire it all off. Yep, because you see he's about to pass there, and it would have went into his sails, so I held fire. And I think that's our Trincomalee over there. He's kind of split up from us. Might be just trying to snipe from a distance, but he kind of needs to get into this mix. You can see Bismarck in the back as well, surrounded by red. And at this point, the only shot I had was on that cutter, so I just let fly because might as well shoot at something instead of just saving it for a larger vessel later on, which by then I could, of course, be reloaded. Some more ball shot here on the rear chasers. And seeing Bismarck separated there still, I want to try to get around to him. I see Iron Potato. Still have ball loaded up on the starboard side, loading double on port. And, you know, this isn't the most powerful ship, so I have to choose wisely when engaging threats. I was looking at Chen over there, and then I think at that point I was like, well, I could shoot him, but I probably should shoot at something else. This is just ball shot on the Santissima, but you can see one of those look to hit the mast, and I was thinking maybe I could try for a masting shot. So I aim high on that a little bit. It didn't really look like it did too much there. I think the masts have been strengthened in recent patches, so it's not as easy to mast another ship. I know that can be frustrating, but you know, it is a thing that happened, so it's just something you have to deal with in this kind of game. But the Santissima's sails aren't looking all that great, so hopefully he's slowed down quite a bit. Checking out some other targets here, reloading ball ammo in the meantime. The cutter's still working on us as well. Not a huge threat, but you want to be careful because a good cutter can stern camp with the best of them and ruin your day. Thankfully, he's not too much of a problem right now. I think at this point, we're just trying to think about staying out of the way of the Santissima again, seeing it and thinking, oh no, you know, there's that broadside facing me, and I don't really see any other targets, so I'm just wondering, did he fire, or is he going to save his fire for something bigger? It's a scary situation. He looks to be opening some fire here on me. Some of the shots hitting the water. Maybe he let loose a deck. And there I go with some double shot. Doing a little bit of damage there as we sail by. And at this point, I'm making my way towards Bismarck a little bit more to back him up, because I'm seeing him on his own here. Bismarck is in the USS Constitution. I think he recently unlocked the Bologna, so we may see some Bologna content from him. Letting loose there with some more cannon fire. Bismarck is obviously missing his bowsprit, so turning for him not going to be very easy, especially in the Constitution. And then we've also got a brig just kind of sitting out here, perhaps attempting to snipe, I don't know. At this point we are tacking. You can see our sail position in relation to the wind direction to flip our ship around here. This is a good way to get out of a bad situation. Surprise does it very well. And so you can see here we're about to acquire some new targets. Now apparently this Surprise was originally a French vessel, and with the French it was considered a heavy corvette, and then the British classified it as a frigate. At least that's what Mr. Ram JB tells me. So it is very maneuverable. I do enjoy it. It is one of my favorites. You You can see us moving up on this next target here. People often ask me what are my favorite ships currently in the game. And it's definitely between the USS Constitution, the Trincomalee, and the Surprise. 3 of my favorites there. I do have to give it to the Constitution just because of the firepower and the speed that it does have. The Trin turns nice, and I have learned how to use the heel to kind of arc shots a little further out, but in close quarters I don't really enjoy it, and I would rather take a Constitution. But here's some shots out on the cutter, just because it's the only shot that I have, and well, again, I might as well shoot at something, right? Double shot when it does land, doing some nice damage. Bowsprit gone, I think, on that shot. And just kind of back to worrying about the targets that Bismarck is facing. Iron Potato in front of us. Not sure what he's up to, but wanting to keep an eye on him as well. I think the other nice thing about being in this ship is that most people aren't paying too much attention to you, so you can kind of just sneak around. The downside is, of course, that when you're the last ship left, then, well, you die pretty quickly. Some decent shots out here on the front of that ship. And I'm still eyeing Iron Potato here, but he doesn't seem to be moving a whole heck of a lot. I think in this matchup he had faced some problems. I don't know if it was with his own team or something else, but I'm pretty sure it was frustrating nonetheless. And I will admit that lately I have been having some rubbish games. This one was actually pretty good, but some other games that I had during some live streams were just flat out terrible. And in many cases, it just comes down to people wanting to play on their own and not really work well as a team. And I find that that is not a good way to play this game, because teamwork is absolutely crucial in most multiplayer games, but I find it to be even more so in this, since it's very, very slow paced and does require a lot of focus firing. Now at this point I'm thinking, what about the Santissima? We haven't been paying attention to that. I look over there though and see that he's being dealt with, and so I'm thinking, well, obviously I'm not going to bail on Bismarck here because there's 3 ships. Now, one's only a cutter, but they've got the Trincomalee, and you never want to underestimate the snow. I mean, even a cutter can be annoying, but I'm just not seeing too much problem with this guy, so I'm not really worried about it. In fact, most of the time just saving my shots for bigger ships. But the snow actually ends up being the problem in this matchup. And I think that can happen quite often because we, as I've said in the past, underestimate the smaller ships. Because general rule is to focus on the larger vessels, take them out of combat. They've got more armor, bigger guns. You want to remove them from the fight as quickly as possible. But we end up ignoring these small ships, which can still pack enough punch to finish off a vessel. You can see here even just saving the shots for the Trin, which is the smart thing to do in this case. But I think a good snow captain can sail in and finish off even a larger vessel. All he has to do is load up some double shot and make them count against some weak planking. And you'll actually see that that snow manages to be a bit of a problem later on. But again, just trying to use the maneuverability of the Surprise to get around here, avoid fire if possible, and get some shots out when I can. Right here we have a few shots that we can put in on the snow, so I'm going for it. Single shot right now just to try to get the accurate fire out. I know a lot of people are really good about just firing off the whole broadside and hitting their mark, but in this weather, you know, I like to go for the accuracy, and then once I know that I'm guaranteed the shot, let loose. But even then, sometimes you've got a wave that's elevating the ship, and then the second you let loose with the broadside, it's below, and so you've missed, and it's a waste, and the other guy manages to hit you perfectly. But lots of tacking today with the snow, excuse me, with the Surprise. Getting a lot better with it. Very, very comfortable getting out of these situations. And again, special thanks to RamJB. It's mostly from watching his videos and trying to just copy his sailing techniques. I'm still not great at stern camping. That guy can stern camp like no other, and I'm not good at it. I usually end up just sailing past other ships and then getting broadsided. So that's something I need to work on still. But otherwise, I think my general sailing techniques are pretty good. You know, sticking with the wind and getting out of bad situations. But here now, I'm mostly in a duel with the snow. You can see that the Trincomalee has been beat up pretty badly. I think he's missing an entire broadside, so he should be done soon. Bismarck should be able to finish him. But the snow, however, is something that I'm trying to work on, and rightly so, because that sucker, he just kept going. He just kept ticking for some reason. You can see the Trin doesn't appear to be coming back from his damage. I'm guessing he's out of repair kits at this point because he's missing an entire broadside. But just some more careful shots on the snow here. When we do hit, the damage is nice, but sadly, with this weather situation, we're just not having much luck. But coming back in again. Also, I'm just not afraid to tack. I am really not afraid to do it. I've been doing it pretty well. The only danger might be, you know, sail durability, but right now we're at 92%. And, you know, I just see the snow trying to pound away at Bismarck. And the Trin does not appear to be repairing, so I'm not really too worried about him, but if he's taking a while to sink, then he still can fight. You can see him trying to shoot there, but his cannons might be hitting the water line at this point. I can't really see from here. And yeah, it looks like he's about finished. So now it's just down to the snow, but the downside is that Bismarck is in bad shape. Very little armor remaining on his port side, and I think he's out of repair kits at this point as well. And then we've got the snow still just pounding away, and I'm thinking we need to get rid of him quickly because Bismarck already can't maneuver. He's missing the bowsprit. I don't know if he had a plan or was thinking that he could maybe sink him before sinking himself, but I think if I was in that situation, I might have wanted to cover up my port side, flip around, and use the stronger side of the ship if possible. But again, it is really hard to turn that Constitution when you're damaged, possibly taking on a lot of water in survival mode, which slows you down as well, and then lacking the bowsprit, so it's hard to turn. So he might have not had a choice. His maneuverability might have been shot at that point. Considering the amount of damage he's taken, loss of crew and all that, it adds up, and the more crew you lose, the less effective your ship is, or the slower it is to maneuver, so that's something to keep in mind. But right now, the snow's being screened. I'm taking a look at the Santissima over there, who appears to be finished, and I really don't have the shot now. Some random bow shots out there just because why not. So it looks like the rest of the team was putting up a really good fight. I think this is where we lost Biz, unfortunately, to the snow, and that's what I was talking about earlier, watching that snow as he was still effective. I suppose in hindsight, maybe I could have focused a bit more on it, but I think we placed our shots pretty well, you know, dropping the Trincomalee as quickly as possible. Some shots out at me from the Marine Gamer here in the Santissima. Probably just some last desperate shots out as he's about to sink. And here, kind of going into the wind once more, but I figure I've got some shots that I can let fly. And some good hits there, leaving some armor on his broadside. But I believe he's got some more repair kits to stay into the fight. Sales are now at 88%, so doing these tacks is getting increasingly difficult. You can see here at this point, I think I actually got stuck a little bit and I had to do some reverse rudder. But we eventually get out of it. And I don't know if it was due to the fact that I was just in a bad situation where I didn't have as much momentum, or if it was because of my sail condition. It could have been a mixture of both. But you can see here the snow trying to come about for another shot as well. Thankfully, I still have 3 repair kits, so I've got an advantage over him already. I've got a bigger ship, more guns, more repair kits. I shouldn't have a problem with this. But that doesn't mean he's going to stop fighting anytime soon. All of my shots going into the water there, unfortunately. Just a bad situation. One of those things where you've got a target, it's right across from you. It's a good shot if, you know, everything lands, but, you know, the waves in this weather making things difficult. And at this point, you can see the rest of the team yelling to kill the snow, since they pretty much finished everything else off. But I'm working on them. Slowly but surely, we're working on them. I decided to use my first repair kit here because I'm in rough shape. And, you know, there's nothing worse than hearing that. The sound of the wood sawing and the repairs. Knowing that your enemy that's right next to you is repairing. You're like, dang it. Especially after you've finished them off with a good broadside. You start to hear those repairs and know that they're not done yet. It's depressing. In this situation, I'm not too worried because I know that he's already used at least 2 kits. At very least 2. And I still have another 2 remaining. And we've got allies remaining in the fight. So, again, it's just a matter of time. Now, I didn't have any eyes on the other battle, but it would have been interesting to know what happened with that. I think we had a Bologna and some other ships working on the Santissima. Really, really curious to see how that went, but I guess we'll just have to be happy that we've got this match in the bag. You can see the snow only needing a couple more shots, but you know that can be difficult in this situation. You can see there, I think, missing most of that. But it's been a constant tacking match, you know, with the ships on this side over here. And I don't know that I would have been able to perform as well in anything else, given this particular situation. I think I really did need the maneuverability. And that's why I do enjoy the surprise from time to time. There are those matches, though, where, again, you just get focus fired to death early on by a large ship, and you have no armor. And so, therefore, the ship ceases to be enjoyable. It's really only a good time if nobody's paying attention to you. In this case, we were extremely lucky that the Santissima didn't open fire on us. Whether he was saving his ammo for something bigger or whether he was, you know, mid-reload or something, I think we got lucky. But here we go. Something that can't possibly miss there, at least. As we zoom out a little bit to take a look at the carnage. Hopefully, he doesn't have any more repair kits, is what I'm thinking. The rest of the team was wondering about my situation. And I'm like, I'm good. We got this. A couple of stern chasers out to finish the job. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, another fantastic look at Naval Action. Had a lot of fun playing this match, and even some fun watching it. There's something about the combat in this game. It's just relaxing, as I've said in the past. I think it's a mixture of the slow-paced combat and the sound design, which, as I've said, is apparently going to improve, if that's possible. Game Labs has also released some screenshots of the coast of Puerto Rico in-game, and a very, very brief teaser video showing off some early implementation of their hailing mechanics. Not a whole lot, again, it's just such a very short teaser. And I will definitely bring you as much coverage of the open world mechanics as I can and as soon as possible. I believe we're to be testing that sometime this year. I don't know how it's going to work. You know, I don't know how we're going to film it. You know, if the travel time is great, then we might need to do some editing depending on how it works. But I'm really looking forward to bringing you some more quality naval action footage, and from a different perspective, not just the combat, but all of the other mechanics that are going to be built into the game. But anyways, here is our match summary. I'm credited with bringing down 2 ships, 7,821 damage there. You know, some good damage by these other vessels as well. We couldn't keep Bismarck alive, but he at least brought somebody down with him, so that's always good. And doing some decent damage there. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me here on a regular basis. Really hope that you are enjoying the Naval Action Alpha Test. Stay tuned for a whole lot more, and I will definitely see you on the next one.